The rain hammered against the windshield as I sat in my car outside the grocery store, hands trembling on the steering wheel. My phone screen glowed with a text from an unknown number. Mrs. Peterson, we need to talk about Derek. All four of us. Tonight. 8 p.m. Riverside Cafe. Come alone. For women. For strangers knew my husband's name. I'd been married to Derek Peterson for 6 years. 6 years of what I thought was a solid, beautiful life. We had a routine. He traveled for his pharmaceutical sales job twice a month. I managed our home and worked remotely as a graphic designer. We had date nights every Friday, made love regularly, talked about starting a family next year. But sitting in that car, rain obscuring everything beyond the glass, I felt the first crack in the foundation of my world. My name is Natalie Peterson. I'm 32 years old, and I was about to discover that I didn't know my husband at all. 6 hours earlier, the morning had started normally. Derek kissed me goodbye at 6 a.m., his cologne lingering in the hallway as he headed out for his 3-day sales trip to Portland. I'd wrapped my arms around his waist, pressing my face against his back. "I'll miss you," I'd whispered. "Miss you more, Nat. I'll call tonight." His voice was warm, familiar, safe. I'd spent the day working on a logo design for a new client, answering emails, cleaning the house. Our home in suburban Seattle was everything we dreamed of. A craftsman-style house with a garden I'd spent 2 years perfecting, a reading nook where I'd spent countless Sunday mornings with coffee and novels. The text came at 2:47 p.m. while I was selecting paint colors for the guest bedroom. At first, I thought it was spam, some elaborate phishing scheme. But something about the specificity, Derek, Mrs. Peterson, all four of us, made my stomach clench. I called Derek. It went to voicemail. I called again. Voicemail. I tried to focus on work, but my hands kept returning to my phone. I Googled Derek Peterson Portland pharmaceutical sales, but found nothing unusual. His social media was limited to a few professional posts and pictures of us together, smiling at our wedding, hiking Mount Rainier, celebrating my birthday last month. Normal. Everything looked perfectly normal. By 7 p.m., I'd convinced myself to go to the cafe. I told myself I'd walk in, realize it was a mistake or a joke, and leave. But I had to know. The Riverside Cafe was a small, dimly lit place on the waterfront, the kind of spot that catered to quiet conversations and people who wanted privacy. When I walked in at exactly 8 o'clock, I spotted them immediately. 4 women sitting at a corner booth, their faces turning toward me with expressions I couldn't quite read. Recognition mixed with something else. Sympathy? Anger? Solidarity? The oldest woman, maybe late 40s with silver-streaked auburn hair, stood first. "Natalie Peterson?" I nodded, my throat dry. "I'm Simone. This is Lauren, Jess, and Kira." She gestured to the other women. A petite blonde who looked about my age, a dark-haired woman in athletic wear who couldn't have been older than 25, and a striking woman with sharp cheekbones who watched me with intelligent brown eyes. "Sit down," Simone said gently. "Please." I slid into the booth opposite them, my heart hammering. "How do you know my husband?" Lauren, the blonde, laughed bitterly. "Your husband? That's rich." "What Lauren means," Simone interrupted, her voice measured, "is that Derek isn't just your husband. He's been involved with all of us." The words didn't register at first. They bounced off my brain like stones skipping on water. "Involved," I repeated slowly. "He told me he was divorced," Jess said, her voice tight. "Said his ex-wife, you apparently, got the house in the settlement, and he was starting fresh. We'd been seeing each other for 8 months. He told me he was a widower," Kira added, her jaw clenched. "Said his wife died in a car accident 3 years ago. I've been with him for 5 months." Lauren leaned forward, her blue eyes blazing. "He told me he was single, never married. We've been together for a year and a half. A year and a half." I looked at Simone, who was watching me with what looked like pity. "And you?" 2 years, she said quietly. "He told me he was separated, that the divorce was being finalized. He said you were difficult, that you'd cheated on him, that he was just waiting for the paperwork to go through." The cafe tilted. I gripped the edge of the table, trying to anchor myself to reality. No, I whispered. No, we're married. Happily married. We just celebrated our anniversary 3 months ago. We renewed our vows. There are pictures. We went to Maui. We know, Simone said. She pulled out her phone and showed me a photo. Derek and me on the beach in Maui, my arms around his neck, both of us laughing. He posted this on his private Facebook account. The one he told me was just for family. How did you find each other? I asked, the question coming from somewhere outside myself. Lauren smiled grimly. I got suspicious about a month ago. He kept canceling plans, saying he had late meetings. So I followed him one night. Saw him meet Jess at a restaurant. Confronted her. That's when we realized we were both seeing the same man. I found Lauren's number in his other phone, Jess continued. The one he thought I didn't know about. I called her, thinking I'd warn her off. Instead, we compared notes. They tracked me down through his credit card statements, Kira said. A hotel charge in Sacramento, where I live. They called the hotel, got my name from the reservation. And Simone paused, her eyes distant. I hired a private investigator 2 months ago. I knew something was wrong. The investigator found all of you, including you, Natalie, the legally married wife. The word wife hung in the air like an accusation. I have bank statements, I said, my voice rising. Joint accounts. A mortgage in both our names. Our marriage license. This isn't possible. We have evidence too, Lauren said. She pulled out a folder and spread its contents across the table. Photographs of Derek with each woman. Receipts from hotels, restaurants, jewelry stores. Text messages professing love, planning futures, discussing moving in together. I stared at a picture of Derek and Jess on what looked like a beach in Mexico. His arm was around her waist, their faces pressed together, both smiling. The date stamp read 4 months ago, the same week he told me he was in Denver for a medical conference. He has different phones, Simone explained. Different email addresses. He compartmentalized his entire life. Portland trips? That's when he sees Lauren. Sacramento?
Kira.
Phoenix? That's Jess. He's been rotating through all of us, using his sales territory as cover.
How?
The word came out as a broken whisper. How did he manage all of this? He's meticulous, Kira said. Obsessively organized. And he's a pathological liar. A really, really good one. I thought about Derek's calendar, color-coded and precise. His habit of keeping separate notebooks for different clients. The way he always knew exactly where he was supposed to be and when. I thought I'd married a responsible, organized man. I'd married a monster. Why are you telling me this? Asked, my voice hollow. Why not just leave him? Because we want justice, Lauren said fiercely. And we want him to pay for what he's done. More specifically, Simone said, we want to make sure he can't do this to anyone else. And we want our lives back. What do you mean? Jess leaned forward, her dark eyes intense. He's not just cheating, Natalie. He's been stealing from us. Small amounts at first, borrowing money for emergencies, using our credit cards for work expenses he promised to repay. Lauren lost $20,000. I lost 15. Simone lost 30. My stomach dropped. How much money do we have in our accounts? When did you last check? Simone asked gently. I pulled out my phone with shaking hands, logged into our bank app. The joint account that should have had $43,000, our savings for a down payment on a vacation home, money we'd been accumulating for 4 years, showed a balance of $862. The room spun. When? I gasped. The withdrawals started 3 months ago, Simone said. She'd clearly already done her homework. Small amounts at first, then larger chunks. All made during his trips, from ATMs in different cities. He's been planning something, Kira said. The question is what? I scrolled through the transaction history with numb fingers. Withdrawals in Portland, Sacramento, Phoenix, Denver. Thousands of dollars, bleeding out of our account week by week. We think he's planning to disappear, Lauren said. Start over somewhere new, with someone new. Maybe someone he hasn't even met yet. Or maybe he's already met her, Jess added darkly. Maybe there's a number 5 we don't know about. I looked up at these 4 women, strangers an hour ago, now bound together by betrayal and heartbreak. What do you want from me? Help us take him down, Simone said simply. We've been coordinating with a lawyer. What he's done, the fraud, the bigamy implications if he made promises to any of us under false pretenses, the financial theft, it's enough to press charges. But we need you, the legal wife, to be willing to testify, to make this real. We want him arrested, Lauren said. We want his face on the news. We want everyone to know what kind of man Derek Peterson really is. He destroyed our lives, Jess whispered, her voice breaking. I turned down a job offer in Boston because he said we were building a future together in Phoenix. I let him meet my daughter, my 8-year-old daughter who's been asking where Mr. Derek went. He proposed to me, Kira said flatly, 3 weeks ago. Gave me a ring and everything. Said we'd get married in the spring. She pulled a small velvet box from her purse and opened it. A diamond solitaire glinted in the cafe's low light. I stared at the ring, then looked down at my own hand. The wedding band Derek had placed there 6 years ago suddenly felt like a shackle. What do you need me to do? I asked. The plan was simple but required precision. Derek was supposed to return home in 2 days. Instead, Simone's private investigator confirmed he'd extended his trip and was currently in Portland with Lauren, planning a romantic weekend at a boutique hotel. I told him I was going to visit my sister, Lauren explained as we sat in my living room the next evening, all 5 of us surrounding my coffee table like generals planning a war. He thinks I'm in Sacramento. He has no idea I'm here. He's meeting me for dinner tomorrow night, Kira said. At 8 p.m. in Portland. I told him I was flying up for a surprise visit. And I'm supposed to meet him for brunch on Sunday, Jess added. Same city, different restaurant. The overlapping commitments would have been comical if they weren't so devastating. We need to confront him all at once, Simone said. She'd become our de facto leader, the one who'd had the longest time to process her anger and channel it into strategy. Make it impossible for him to lie his way out. He'll try, I said quietly. I'd been thinking about Derek constantly, analyzing every moment of our marriage through this new, horrible lens. He's been doing this for at least 2 years. He'll have explanations, excuses. He'll make us feel crazy for questioning him. Then we need evidence he can't deny, Lauren said.
She turned to me.
Do you have access to his home office? I nodded. Derek had a small office off our bedroom, supposedly for paperwork and sales reports. I'd never had reason to go through it thoroughly. Then let's see what we can find. What we found, over the next 3 hours of searching, was a masterclass in deception. Hidden in a locked file cabinet, the key taped under his desk drawer, we discovered multiple passports with Derek's photo, but different names. Burner phones, still in their boxes. A ledger documenting his withdrawals and expenses, noting which identity and which woman each transaction was associated with. Oh my God, Jess breathed, staring at a page. He rated us. He actually rated us on categories. Emotional availability, financial resources, physical attractiveness, likelihood of long-term compliance. I felt bile rise in my throat as I looked at my own entry. Natalie, high financial stability, owns home, strong family, support network. Low suspicion threshold. Useful for establishing legitimate base of operations. We weren't people to him, Kira said, her voice shaking with rage. We were assets. Resources to be managed and exploited. But the most damning discovery was a journal, leather-bound and filled with Derek's neat handwriting. In it, he documented his project, that's what he called it, in meticulous detail. The key is compartmentalization. One entry read, each woman must believe she's the only one. Each must exist in her own sealed universe, never intersecting with the others. The challenge is maintaining 4 separate emotional narratives while keeping the practical details consistent. Another entry, dated 6 months ago. Natalie is becoming complacent.
Good.
A comfortable wife is a trusting wife. Meanwhile, Lauren provides passion, Jess provides excitement, Kira provides youth, and Simone provides intellectual stimulation. Together, they give me everything I need. Separately, they'll never realize they're sharing. A more recent entry made my blood freeze. Time to move on. The infrastructure is becoming unstable. Too many questions, too many close calls. Phoenix or Austin next. Need to research optimal conditions for the next phase. The money from the Seattle accounts should be sufficient for startup capital. He was planning to abandon all of us, I said, my voice distant. Just disappear and start over with someone new. Not anymore, Simone said grimly. Tomorrow we end this. We intercepted Derek at the Portland hotel. Lauren had kept a reservation, checked in, and texted him the room number. He thought he was coming for a romantic evening. Instead, he walked into a room containing 5 women, a police officer Simone had contacted, and a lawyer specializing in fraud cases. The look on his face when he opened the door would stay with me forever. Shock first, his eyes going wide. Then rapid calculation as he processed the situation. I watched him run through his options, saw the moment he decided to try charm and confusion. Natalie? What are you, baby, what's going on? Lauren, why are you, wait, is this some kind of intervention? He actually smiled, that warm, slightly confused smile I'd seen 1,000 times. Did I forget something important? Our anniversary isn't until... Stop, I said, my voice cutting through his performance like a knife. We know everything. Know what? Honey, you're not making sense. Can someone explain? We found your journal, Simone said coldly. Your ledger. Your backup identities. Your plans to steal from all of us and disappear. The mask cracked. Just for a second, but I saw it, a flash of genuine emotion that might have been anger or fear or something worse. I can explain, he started, but Jess cut him off. You told me your wife was dead. You looked me in my eyes and told me she died in a car accident. You held me while I cried for you, for the pain you'd suffered. And she's standing right here, very much alive. You proposed to me, Kira added, her voice trembling. You got down on one knee and promised me forever, while you were legally married to Natalie and actively sleeping with 3 other women. Derek's eyes darted between us, looking for an opening, a weak point. He found me, and his expression shifted to something desperate and pleading. Nat, please. Whatever they've told you, whatever you think you found, it's not what it looks like. I love you. You have to believe me. We have a home together, a life. These women there, they misunderstood things. I was trying to help them, and they got the wrong idea, and... You stole $35,000 from our joint account, I said flatly. You've been systematically draining our savings for months. That was for us, he said quickly. I was investing it, trying to grow our nest egg. I was going to surprise you. Mr. Peterson, the police officer stepped forward. You need to stop talking. The lawyer handed Derek a folder. You're being served with a civil suit for fraud and theft. The district attorney is reviewing the case for potential criminal charges. And Mrs. Peterson is filing for divorce. I watched Derek's face cycle through emotions, denial, anger, calculation, and finally, something that looked almost like grief. But I didn't trust it. I couldn't trust anything about him anymore. You're making a mistake, he said, looking directly at me. All of you. We could have had everything. I gave you all exactly what you needed. I loved each of you in the way you needed to be loved. I made you all happy. You made us all lies, Lauren said quietly. You built our happiness on a foundation of deception, and now it's collapsed. And the only person to blame is you. We weren't real to you, I added, my voice steadier than I felt. We were characters in a story you were writing. But we're real people, Derek. And you destroyed real lives. He looked at me for a long moment, and I saw something in his eyes I'd never seen before, a coldness, an emptiness that made me wonder how I'd ever thought I knew this man at all. You'll regret this, he said softly. All of you. No, Simone said. You'll regret it. You'll regret it every day you spend explaining to police, to lawyers, to judges, and eventually to the press what kind of man you really are. The police officer put a hand on Derek's shoulder. "Sir, you're going to need to come with me. There are some questions we need to ask you about fraudulent bank transactions and identity theft." As they led him out of the room, Derek looked back at us one more time. But he didn't say anything. There was nothing left to say. The door closed behind him, and the five of us stood in silence for a long moment. Then Kira started crying. And then Jess joined her. And then we were all crying, holding each other, five strangers brought together by betrayal and bound now by something stronger: survival. 3 months later, the story broke nationally within a week of Derek's arrest. "Con man bilks multiple women," read one headline. "Modern bigamist's house of cards collapses," declared another. Derek's face was everywhere, his professional headshot from his pharmaceutical company juxtaposed with his mugshot, the difference between them stark and damning. The criminal charges stuck: fraud, theft, identity theft, and a host of other crimes that carried real prison time. Derek's company fired him immediately. His professional reputation was destroyed. And the civil suits, all five of us filed them, would ensure he'd be paying back what he stole for years to come. But the legal victory, satisfying as it was, wasn't the real resolution. The real resolution came slowly, in the form of healing. Simone started a support group for women who'd been victims of romantic fraud. She turned out to have a gift for organizing and advocacy, and within 2 months, she'd helped 3 other women escape similar situations. Lauren went back to school for a law degree, determined to specialize in fraud cases. "If I'm going to be famous for being conned," she told us, "I might as well use that experience to help others." Jess moved to Boston and took that job she'd turned down. Her daughter, after some therapy, stopped asking about Mr. Derek and started adjusting to their new life. Jess sent us pictures: a new apartment, a new start, genuine smiles. Kira threw herself into her career in marketing and got a major promotion. The ring Derek had given her? She sold it and donated the money to a women's shelter. "Better someone else gets something real out of that fake promise," she said. And me? I sold the house. Too many memories, too many ghosts. I couldn't walk through that door without remembering Derek kissing me goodbye, couldn't sleep in that bed without wondering how many lies he'd told me in the darkness. I moved to a small apartment overlooking Elliott Bay, with floor-to-ceiling windows and a view that changed with every weather shift. I threw myself into my design work and found that the experience, horrible as it was, had given me a new perspective. My designs became darker, more complex, more emotionally resonant. Clients noticed. My business grew. But more importantly, the five of us stayed connected. We met once a month, rotating cities. Portland 1 month, Sacramento the next, Phoenix after that. We called ourselves the Phoenix Five, ironic, given that Jess no longer lived in Phoenix, but the metaphor was too perfect to resist. We'd risen from the ashes of Derek's destruction, transformed by fire into something stronger. Today, I'm sitting in a cafe in San Francisco, waiting for the others to arrive for our monthly meeting. It's been exactly 1 year since that first night at Riverside Cafe, when 4 strangers showed me my life was built on lies. My phone buzzes. A text from Lauren. Running late. Airport security is brutal. Order me a latte? Then Simone just parked. Be there in 5. Jess. Flight landed early. Grabbing an Uber now. Kira, here. I'm at the table by the window. I smile and head inside, and there's Kira, her face lighting up when she sees me. We hug, hold each other tight. No longer strangers, no longer just victims, but friends forged in the kind of fire that either destroys you or makes you unbreakable. The others arrive in a tumble of laughter and stories. Lauren got an A on her torts exam. Simone's support group is expanding to 3 more cities. Jess's daughter made the honor roll. Kira just signed her biggest client yet. And me? I've started dating again. Slowly, carefully, with my eyes wide open and my heart protected but not closed. His name is Marcus. He's a high school history teacher, and he's been patient with my trust issues and gentle with my healing wounds. I'm proud of you, Simone says when I mention Marcus, and the others nod agreement. I'm proud of all of us, I say. We could have let this destroy us. But instead we destroyed it. Lauren finishes, grinning. We order food, share stories, laugh until our sides hurt. At one point, Jess raises her glass. Just water, nothing fancy, but the gesture feels ceremonial.
To the Phoenix Five, she says.
To survival, Kira adds. To friendship, Simone contributes. To truth, Lauren says. They all look at me, waiting for my addition to the toast. I think about that day in my car, rain obscuring the windshield, my hands trembling as I read that first text. I think about who I was then, naive, trusting, living in a beautiful lie. I think about who I am now, scarred but stronger, betrayed but not broken, wiser and more careful, but still capable of hope. To new beginnings, I say finally. We clink our glasses together, and the sound rings out clear and bright, like a bell marking the start of something true. Later that evening, walking back to my hotel, my phone buzzes with an email notification. It's from the district attorney's office. Derek's sentencing hearing has been scheduled for next month. They're recommending 4 years in prison.
4 years.
1 for each woman he deceived. It's not enough. It could never be enough to repay what he took from us. Our time, our trust, our sense of safety in the world. But it's something. It's justice, imperfect but real. I think about that journal entry where Derek called us his project, where he rated us like commodities, where he documented his plans to use and abandon us. I wonder if he understands now that we were never his project. He was ours. We studied him, analyzed him, exposed him, and ultimately defeated him. Not with deception, we left that to him, but with truth and solidarity and the simple, revolutionary act of believing each other. The rain starts as I reach my hotel, soft and steady. Seattle rain, I think fondly. Even in San Francisco, I carry Seattle with me. I carry all of it with me. The pain and the healing, the betrayal and the friendship, the lies and the hard-won truth. I carry the knowledge that I survived something that could have destroyed me, and that survival has made me someone I'm proud to be. Tomorrow, I'll fly back to Seattle. I'll work on my designs, have dinner with Marcus, maybe call my mom and actually answer honestly when she asks how I'm doing. I'll live my life, not the life Derek wanted me to have, not the life I thought I was living when I was married to him, but my own life, true and imperfect and entirely mine. And next month, I'll stand in that courtroom with Simone, Lauren, Jess, and Kira beside me. We'll watch Derek be sentenced. We'll hear the judge tell him that his actions have consequences, that his lies have ended, that his victims have won. And then we'll walk out of that courthouse together, 5 women who went through hell and came out the other side holding each other's hands. That's the real ending. Not revenge, not even justice exactly, but this, the refusal to be destroyed. The choice to transform pain into power, betrayal into bonds, and lies into a life that's finally, fully, undeniably real. I am Natalie Peterson. I was just going home when 4 women told me the truth about my husband. And that truth set all of us free. 6 years later, the documentary premiered at Sundance and was picked up by Netflix the same week. Phoenix 5, a story of deception, survival, and sisterhood, became one of the platform's most watched documentaries, trending globally for 3 weeks. The 5 of us were interviewed extensively, our faces and stories now part of a larger conversation about romantic fraud, financial abuse, and the power of women supporting women. Derek wrote us from prison. All 5 letters were identical, carefully crafted apologies that probably came from some prison self-help workshop. None of us responded. But we did appear together on several talk shows, speaking about warning signs, about trusting your instincts, about the importance of financial literacy and independence. Simone's organization now operates in 15 cities and has helped over 200 women. Lauren finished law school and now works for a firm specializing in fraud cases, winning major settlements for victims. Jess's daughter is 14 now, bright and strong, and knows the full story of Mr. Derek. "I'm proud of my mom," she told the documentary crew. "She's a warrior." Kira is engaged, to a woman this time, she jokes. Someone who's been fully vetted and who knows every detail of her past. And me? I married Marcus 3 years ago, in a small ceremony attended by the Phoenix 5 and our families. We have a daughter now, Emma, who's 2 years old and fearless. Sometimes I think about that version of myself sitting in the car in the rain, about to walk into Riverside Cafe. I want to go back and tell her that she's going to be okay, more than okay. That the worst thing that will ever happen to her is also going to be the thing that leads her to some of the best people she'll ever know. But I can't go back. None of us can. All we can do is move forward, carrying our scars and our strength, our pain and our power, our history and our hope. The documentary ends with the 5 of us sitting on a beach in Oregon, where we went to celebrate the anniversary of our first meeting. The cameras capture us laughing, talking, simply being together. What would you say to other women going through something similar? The interviewer asks. We look at each other, these women who started as strangers and became sisters. Simone speaks first. Believe yourself. Lauren adds. Believe other women. Jess, you're stronger than you think. Kira, you deserve better. They all turn to me, waiting for the final word. I look at the camera, thinking of all the women watching who might be sitting in their cars in the rain, hands trembling on the steering wheel, about to discover that their lives are built on lies. The truth, I say, might destroy everything you thought you knew. But from that destruction, you can build something better. Something real. Something yours. The camera pulls back, showing the 5 of us silhouetted against the sunset, waves crashing behind us, still standing, still together, still unbreakable. The screen fades to black, and the final words appear. Derek Peterson was released on parole after serving 3 years of his sentence. All funds stolen from the 5 women have been repaid in full through civil judgments. The Phoenix 5 continue to meet monthly and remain close friends. This is their story, in their own words. And underneath, one final line. To every woman who's ever been lied to, you are not alone. You are believed, and you will survive.
And that wraps up today's story. Now we want to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments, and let's see how far these stories reach. If this story moved you or gave you chills, give it a like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories. One last thing, rate the story from 1 to 10 in the comments. Your feedback helps us bring you even better ones next time. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you being part of this storytelling journey.